All right, guys, today I'm going to go over with you real quick negative bases. Negative exponents, we'll say first. Exponent powers and bases. We're going to go over power and the base. So let's start with negative powers. All right, so let's look at the patterns we talked about in class recently. Okay, we started with 2 to the third power, and then we looked at 2 to the second power, 2 to the first power, 2 to the 0 power. Okay, we're going to talk about 2 to the 0 power as well. So let's add right here, actually, and 0 powers, because we need to talk about that as well. And then we're going to talk about 2 to the negative first, 2 to the negative second, 2 to the negative third. All right, so let's write these down now. So we know 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 to the third power is 8. Okay? 2 to the second power is 4. And 2 to the first power, 2 times itself one time, is just 2. Okay, so you notice a pattern here, right? These numbers are decreasing by 2, right? Divide by 2, or they're being multiplied by 1/2. They're shrinking by half, right? Or by a factor of 2. So here we're going from 4 down to 2. So again, we divided by 2. So then what's the next logical step in this pattern if we're following a sequence here? It would be to divide by 2. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So look at that. 2 to the 0 power is, in fact, 1. Okay? And I'll give you a pro tip right now. Okay? Any number raised to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so another example. If we have 3 to the 0, it's 1. If we have 4 to the 0, it's 1. It will always be 1. Okay, and now let's continue this pattern. Divided by 2. Right, this pattern continues. 2 to the negative first must then be 1/2. Okay, and this is true. It's 1 over 2. Okay, and then let's continue this pattern again. So 1/2 divided by 2 is then 1/4. Okay, and then if we divide that by 2, what do we get next? 1/8. Oops. So you can see here there's a pattern. Okay, so if we connect the dots, right? 2 to the negative third is 1 over 8. Well, positive 2 to the third is just 8. Right? So the rule we can make here is that any negative power is the flip, or what we like to call in math reciprocal, of its positive version. Okay? And that holds up for all of these, and it will hold up for any number. So 2 to the second is 4. 2 to the negative second is the flip or reciprocal of that, 1 over 4. Okay, and if we keep going, we're going to see 2 to the first is 2. 2 to the negative first is 1 over 2. All right, so these work. These work. So some other examples, some other examples of this would be 3 to the second power is 9. And 3 to the negative second power is 1 over 9. Right? This 9 flipped, because another way to say 9 is 9 over 1. So this 9, when we flip it, is 1 over 9. Okay? So we just flip. Flip it when it's a fraction. All right. So that is the deal with negative powers. Okay? But what about negative bases? Negative bases. Let's talk about that now. So first off, let's just draw a little line right here. And now let's talk about negative bases. Okay. Well, negative bases would be something like this. Negative 2 to the third power. Negative 2 to the second power. Negative 2 to the first power. Okay? Negative 2 to the 0 power. Negative 2. Let's leave it at that. Let's not get into negative exponents on those. So in fact, let's just spread these out a little bit. All right, so negative 2 to the third power is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. All right, well, a negative times a negative is a positive, right? So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. But then we got to bring down this negative 2 and multiply that as well. And negative times a positive is a negative. So now this is negative 8. So negative 2 to the third power is negative 8. Okay? Let's look at the next one. Negative 2 times negative 2 is what negative 2 squared is. Well, negative times a negative is a positive. So that's 4. Positive 4. Right? So this negative now, let's make this a blue highlighter. This negative now made this a positive answer. Okay? In the next example, we have negative 2, right? That's it, negative 2 one time. So in this case, this exponent of 1 gave us a negative again. Okay? And then lastly, anything to the 0 power, just as a refresher, is always what? 1. Just a quick refresher. All right. So I'm noticing a pattern here. Okay? This even number made a positive answer, and these odd number exponents made a negative answer. So let's test it again. Let's try 2 to the fourth, negative 2 to the fourth. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative times a negative is a positive. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So we've got 4 times 4, which is 16. So again, okay, this even numbered exponent, even though it had a negative base, made a positive answer. Okay, let's try negative 2 to the 5th. So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then we got to bring down this guy. Times negative 2 is going to be negative 32. And check it out. This negative symbol in front of the 2 combined with the odd numbered power made a negative answer. And so the pattern that we see here that we need to note is that with negative bases, odd number exponents will give a negative answer. Odd number exponents, okay? And then even number exponents will give a positive answer. Okay? So even number exponents will give a positive, whereas these negative number exponents give a negative answer. So there are your notes for today. Okay? If you need any more notes, feel free to pause it and go back. But again, these notes were on negative exponent powers and bases.